Hi everyone, Lewis here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another batch of information for the DayZ Standalone. As usual, this will consist of a lot of screenshots and a lot of information. This is definitely the biggest blog post I've had to date. It doesn't really deal with any game topic in particular like some of the previous updates did. This one just shows off the game as a whole. It shows some of the new graphical options, it shows some more character customization, and it also shows off some locations where you're going to find some high-end gear in the game. As usual, first off, I'll be showing you guys the screenshots. In this case, there are 10 of them. And then after that, we'll be looking at the dev post, which, like I said, contains a lot of information. So the main thing to notice in this first screenshot is not actually the character in the foreground, but rather the background. You'll notice the clouds look a lot different to it would in the normal DayZ mod. The reason for this is that volumetric clouds have actually been added to a standalone. For those who don't know what they are, basically, in most games that you play, if you look at the sky, you'll actually notice it's just one still image which never moves. In this case, you've actually got clouds in the sky which will move dynamically as the weather changes and all that kind of stuff. So you're not just going to be looking at the same old skybox constantly in the game. It's going to be something which can change over time. It does also have a possibility of flying through them since they are actual objects in the sky as well, which is really awesome. It's a small change, but I'd imagine once you do get it in game, it is going to add to Immersion as a whole. On top of this addition, in this screenshot, you might also notice that the shadows look a lot softer and realistic, especially on the actual character model. The reason for this is because of a change in the lighting engine for the game. It is again a very small detail, but it does really add to the final polish of the game, and it does look a lot better than it did just a few weeks ago. The character itself, you can see, he's got quite a lot of custom gear on. You can see he's got a cap, he's got a jacket, he's probably got a shirt under the jacket, he's got some pants on, all of which are changeable, removable. I did talk about these last week, so I'm not going to be talking about all the different customizable gear you can get on your character. But basically, there's lots of things you can change on your character, not only in cosmetics, but also in survivability, with things such as camo gear and armored vests. This screenshot's comparing Arma 2 to DayZ Standalone. Like I said, the small details which have been added, which are the volumetric clouds and the changes to the lighting, have a huge impact on the game's final appearance. There's nothing else really significant about a new screenshot other than the small plane of concrete which is found on the DayZ Standalone screenshot but isn't in the Arma 2 screenshot. It has been confirmed there's going to be a number of new locations found in the Shinaris Plus map. This could just be an extension of Original City, or it could be a new location entirely. Here's a quick look at the individual screenshots. Like I said, it does make a massive difference even with a few tweaks, and I think the screenshots really do speak for themselves. This screenshot looks at 3 races which I'm guessing are going to be selectable when the player first makes a character. I'm sure you do know what they are, but just to name from left to right, the one on the left is Asian, the one in the middle is Caucasian, and the one on the right is Black. It has been confirmed that you can choose these races on not only male characters but also female characters. This is a screenshot of a plane crash. I'm assuming it's in Chernigorsk because Chernigorsk is the only city in Shinaris which has got the hotel on the right hand of the screen in it, but it could be some other new location which has got maybe a hotel inside it. But either way, this is just looking at a world after the zombies have hit. This could be a permanent thing which can be found in the world, as in this is a crash location, maybe you can get loot inside it, or it could be the case that this is how the new destruction looks in the game, because Arma and DayZ did already have a lot of destruction built inside them, but I'm pretty sure that this is just something which is going to be permanently there at the hotel. Regardless of all of that, it's nice to see that worlds actually took a beating since the zombies have came, compared to the DayZ mod, where obviously the map wasn't designed whatsoever for DayZ, so it looked more or less like no one had been in the city. But now I can see a lovely plane wreck, which might be lootable, not really sure about that, crashed into a hotel in Chernigorsk, probably caused by a zombie inside the actual plane, but who knows. So this screenshot is took in Bor. The reason I'm saying it's in Bor, not Devil's Castle, because I'm pretty sure people probably don't even realize Bor exists, is because it doesn't look anything like Devil's Castle, so it must be Bor. But this screenshot is just looking again at volumetric clouds. Not really anything to say about it. It looks pretty normal, other than obviously the addition of the clouds, which do look really cool. No idea where the screenshots took, but again, there's nothing really of note other than the clouds in the sky. So this screenshot, from what I can see, looks like it's been taken in a random small village, which obviously in the DayZ mod didn't have any purpose whatsoever, but you can see in the screenshot there's actually quite a few interesting things. The first thing I noticed is in the background you can actually go inside that building, which we do know already that a lot of buildings are going to be enterable, which weren't enterable in the DayZ mod, and obviously you're going to be furnished and all that kind of stuff, so it's really cool to see one of those actually in action, especially a residential building. We have seen the outside of hospitals and stuff, but never a residential building. And the next thing you might notice, the thing right in the foreground, is a massive broken car. It has been confirmed that there's going to be loot like under cars, in the trunks, that kind of stuff, so it's actually going to be hard to find loot now, instead of how it was before, just all stuck inside a pile. There is also a possibility of, if the water And food spawns have been changed, and I think there will be, because in the DayZ mod, food and water was way too easy to find. So if it has been toned down a bit, or toned down a lot, there is the possibility of having a big struggle with hunger and thirst, which is something which you didn't really even think about in the DayZ mod. Again, the shadows and the sky looks awesome, and I'm just really looking forward to see how the loot system does play out in the final game. This screenshot shows off something which people have probably already forgot about, myself included, but the addition of female zombies. At long last, we've now got female zombies as well. You can again see in the background a building which is enterable. It could be the same one from the previous screenshot because it is yellow as well, but either way, just the contrast of outside being light and the indoors being really dark, which is something you didn't really find in the DayZ mod, is going to be awesome for some PvP, some hiding from zombies, some hiding from players. Make a base, you can do whatever the hell you want inside the building, and I do also think the massive increase in enterable buildings is a lot bigger of a deal than people might think. This screenshot shows off a new location in the game. It might seem really weird, but the first thing which my eyes really noticed in the screenshot was the barracks in the background. I've got no idea how I've seen it, but you can see it right here in the corner. I'm guessing this is going to be maybe one of the end game locations. There was some military camps in the original DayZ mod. The main one, which people remember probably, is the Balota military camp, but this one is a lot bigger of a scale than we've ever really seen before. Since servers in DayZ Standalone have the potential of having up to 200 people on them at any one time, you can imagine this place is going to be a complete bloodbath if this is the source for endgame gear. This also goes back to a point which I talked about earlier, which is the new looting system. I'm guessing, unlike the DayZ mod, you're not just going to find, like 4 corners of the tent. Like this tent over here, it's not just going to have 4 loot spawns as it would in the DayZ mod. Instead, lots of these places are going to have nothing in them, but maybe some cannons, or maybe, like I said, nothing at all. So it's going to take a long time for you to maybe get that one gun you were after, or maybe the body armor you were after. It's not just going to be there out in front of you and you're going to know where it's going to spawn. It's going to be completely random, and like I said, you're going to have to search for your loot. This is a picture of some boots. I mean, you probably worked that out already, but the question is, why is there a picture of boots here? I mean, the boots look pretty awesome, but I think this is going back to another point which I made actually in the previous video that I made on the DayZ Standalone, which is about thermals. And imagine these boots are going to help you with thermals. You're not going to get your feet wet, and you're going to have some lovely, dry, and ready to run feet, or something along those lines. It's nice to see lots of detail is going to go into the customizable gear instead of just having like a red shirt, a green shirt, or something stupid like that. You can actually have some nice looking gear, which is going to take a long time to find. This is probably going to be something you're going to find in civilian areas, or you can maybe kill someone. You're like, oh, I like that guy's shoes, I'm going to kill him. So then you kill him and take his shoes. So that's awesome. I don't really know what else to say about that. I'm definitely going to kill someone if I see them with these shoes, because they look rather comfortable. Anyway, that's all the screenshots for this update. Time to delve into the dev post and look at some more details. So this first section is basically just listing all the things which we're going to be talking about in this blog post, and stating that there's been a lot of development over the past few weeks, which is the time between now and the previous dev post. So the first paragraph just talks about the lighting changes and the material improvements. I've talked about lighting changes already. The material improvements I haven't talked about, but you might have noticed in some of the screenshots, such as the ground, on the comparison screenshot, it does look a lot cleaner than it did before. And it's not really anything notable about this other than that visuals in the game are going to be changing. The game is going to be looking better, it's going to be running better, and as a whole, it is going to be a lot more enjoyable and immersive of an experience, hopefully once the game is released in its final stage. The next paragraph just talks about the volumetric clouds. I've already talked about these quite a lot in depth. These have been took from Take on Helicopters game and then implemented into the DayZ Standalone, since it does use the same engine. And like it says in the post, it does indeed add a lot more realism than you might find in the DayZ mod. The next paragraph talks about something which everyone's been asking a lot about in the past few months, which is about hacking and how it's going to be dealt with in the DayZ Standalone. Because the game is taking an MMO route, they are able to change a lot of things which they weren't able to really change in the DayZ mod. The main problem with the DayZ mod is that literally anyone could run certain scripts which could spawn in vehicles, spawn in weapons, and do loads of weird things. But of course, this isn't going to be something you can do in the DayZ Standalone, and also things such as spawning for the loot and the zombies is going to be all controlled on the server side. So hacking as a whole is going to be really cut down in the DayZ Standalone. It's not going to be anywhere near as much as a problem as it is in the DayZ mod right now. So the next paragraph talks a bit about the clothing and the inventory system. For those who don't know, it's something which Rocket's talked about a bit in the past, but there is the ability of having diseases on actual items. So say for example, you give someone a blood bag which is infected or something along those lines, it could result in their death. There's going to be a lot of awesome gameplay mechanics which come from the addition of diseases in the DayZ Standalone, and it is also going to mean you should really think twice before you do put on that baseball hat, because it could have a squirrel in it which could bite you and then give you rabies or something. On top of the addition of squirrels with rabies, which I was joking about, but it could happen, who knows, there is going to be a video released very soon which is going to be looking at some more customization found in the game. Since everyone's probably throwing their wallet at the screen right now saying, "Take my money, Rocket," you're probably wondering, when is the game going to be available to the public? Well, there's actually closed testing right now in the development studio itself, I'd imagine, and very soon there is going to be the closed test, which is for streamers and YouTubers, which yes, I am a part of, which then, once that comes out, those people will be able to make some videos and all that kind of stuff, so people can judge the video, although you won't be able to play that at that stage, or at least the public won't be able to play it. Basically, it's not long until the game is available to the public, but there isn't actually any confirmed release date. This is mainly due to how the game is. It's not like you can just, you know, put down a list of everything you want in the game and do it. Rocket and his team, I'd imagine, are constantly thinking of new ideas which you want to put in the release, so who knows when it comes out. I'm hoping soon, but either way, like I said, you'll see people in the closed test streaming, making YouTube videos, myself included, very soon. So this next paragraph talks briefly about how they basically want the game to look more like a zombie apocalypse has actually been there. It's something you might have seen in the screenshots and I've talked about. There's going to be a lot of details found in the world which hopefully represent the whole zombie apocalypse theme a lot more accurately. And when you think about it, since the DayZ mod has more or less nothing added to the world which helps it add to the whole theme, like I said, of a zombie apocalypse, it's surprising how immersive the game is. So by the time Standalone comes out, you probably won't be able to tell the difference between real life and DayZ, or at least that's how I'd imagine it's going to end up being. They are going to be polishing up a lot of textures, which didn't really matter since the game, you know, was a military simulator, so the indoor textures, that kind of stuff, and of course they are going to be adding the textures for the new areas, which are going to be adding. As a whole, there is a lot of work involved with the actual transition from the DayZ mod to DayZ Standalone, a lot more than anyone really ever thought, Rocket included. That is why the entire game's been delayed, because Rocket wants to do something and he wants to do it well. Talking on the topic of customizing characters, Rocket has realized that, you know, a personality for your character is a big deal with Immersion and the game as a whole, so there's going to be a lot of work put into the customization for characters, something I talked about before. Races, there's also the potential of tattoos, which is something noted at the bottom of the post, and as a whole there is going to be, like I said earlier, and I've said about a million times before, a lot of customization in the DayZ Standalone. Since right now in the DayZ mod, you're like, "Is that you, Jimmy? Is that you, Jimmy?" And then you end up shooting Jimmy anyway. This is also going to be a big deal for not shooting your teammates. So the next part talks about the customization of your weapon. Things such as even magazines inserted in your weapons are going to be counted as an attachment. So the condition and all that kind of stuff for your weapon and its attachments are actually important. In the case of a magazine, say you come across one which is a bit damaged, you're probably going to have the potential of your gun locking up or something, and of course that is definitely not something you want to encounter while shooting zombies, or especially not shooting at a player. Like it says in the post, taking care of your stuff is going to be a huge deal in DayZ Standalone. It does say in the post that a magazine is the only attachment for your weapon right now, but it is something I've talked about before, the potential of changing attachments on your weapon, so this does confirm that you can have things like silencers, red dots, all that kind of stuff customizable on your weapon to meet your needs. This is something I talked about before. The game does not have any solid release date. Since the game is getting more and more optimistic every day, it could take a long time until they really call the game a final product or the best product it could have been, but it is going to be, you know, in public hands by that stage a long time before that anyway. But either way, I'd rather wait for a long time for a nice polished game instead of getting something which isn't really ready for release. You know, it's just buggy, all that kind of stuff, as it probably is right now. Like I said, you will be able to buy the game once it is out of the alpha stage and into the beta stage, so it's not like you're going to worry about the game being delayed for 2 years or something. It is going to be coming out very soon. It's just like I said, the ideas that Rocket's got, they might take a long time until they actually come into the game. This is the final paragraph, and it basically says Rocket is finally seeing the benefits of the delay. Basically, the game is coming into shape and it's looking awesome. Like I said, we're getting really optimistic with all the things which we want to add to the game. We've got a long list of things which are really just going to add to the depth, and I really cannot wait for a release. It is going to be coming out in closed alpha, like I said earlier, very, very soon. So expect some coverage of the game extremely soon. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this dev post. As usual, there will be a link to a full dev post in the description below if you do want to go check it out yourself. if you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And feel free to leave your comments on anything which you've seen in today's little look at the dev post. There's been a lot of awesome details which I've never heard of before, and I'm getting really excited over everything. Like Rocket said in his final post, don't get overhyped, because the game is going to be buggy when it first comes out, as any game is when it first comes out. It's going to be buggy, but it's slowly going to get polished until it's ready for a public stage. Then it's going to be in beta, then you can play it, and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be cool. It's coming very soon. Like I said, expect footage from me, and lots of our YouTubers and streamers. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I shall see you guys next time.